Welcome to Exam Math Keys. This is lesson 4, course 1. Zero power rule explained clearly. Why does 7 raised to power 0 equal 1? Why does 100 raised to power 0 equal 1? It doesn't look logical until you understand the pattern behind it. So in this lesson, we will examine some patterns, examine the subtraction law rule first. Let's go as fast as we can. Zero power rule. Let's use the subtraction rule or the subtraction law first. Consider this: x raised to power 5 divided by x raised to power 5. This is x raised to power 3. You remember how we got this? X raised to power 2. This is x raised to power 3. How did we get that? X raised to power 5 minus 2, which is x raised to power 3. That's the subtraction rule. If you have not understood that, go back to our video on the subtraction rule. Now let's move forward and look at another example. X raised to power 5 divided by x raised to power 5. This is x raised to power 5 minus 5, which is x raised to power 0. But logically, we know that x raised to power 5 divided by x raised to power 5 is equal to 1, because any number raised to power 0, any number divided by itself equals 1. Any non-zero number. If you divide 10 by 10, you get 1. If you divide 1 million by a million, you get 1. Any number that is non-zero divided by itself will give you 1. Therefore, we have been able to prove that x raised to power 0 is equal to 1. Now, you can also consider a pattern logic method. Pattern logic method. What do I mean by that? When you have x raised to power 3, this will give you x times x times x. And then x raised to power 2, this is x times x. You have x raised to power 1 is x. Now let's divide step by step. Let's divide step by step. Let's start with x raised to power 3. X raised to power 3 divided by x. Use x to divide each of these categories. This will give us x raised to power 2. How did we come about that? x raised to power 3 minus 1. All right? Then x raised to power 2 divided by x will give x raised to power 1. How did we come about that? X raised to power 2 minus 1. And x raised to power 1 divided by x will give us x raised to power 0. How did we come about that? X raised to power minus 1. X raised to power 1 minus 1. All right. Each time we divide by x, the power reduces by 1. Each time we divide by x, the power reduces by 1. Therefore, x raised to power 1 divided by x is equal to x divided by x, which is 1. Therefore, x raised to power 0 is equal to 1. Then let's test with real numbers. Let's work with real numbers. Consider this. 5 raised to power 3 is equal to 125. 5 raised to power 2 is equal to 25. 5 raised to power 1 is 5. Now, let's divide repeatedly by 5. Let's begin with the first one. 125 divided by 5 is equal to 25. How did we come about that? This is same as 5 raised to power 3 minus 1, which is 5 raised to power 2. Then the second one, 5 raised to power 2 divided by 5 will give us 5. How did we get that? 5 raised to power 2 minus 1, which is 5 raised to power 1. And then 5 divided by 5 will give us 1. How did we come about that? 5 raised to power 1 minus 1, which is 5 raised to power 0. Therefore, again, 5 raised to power 0 is 1. This works for any non-zero number. All right? Now, take note of this important mathematical precision. Important mathematical precision. A raised to power 0 is equal to 1 for A not equal to 0. This rule applies only when the base is not 0. That means that 0 degrees is undefined. 0 degrees is undefined. Okay. Because to use the the subtraction rule, we will need 0 raised to power 5 to divide 0 raised to power 5. 0 raised to power 5 divided by 0 raised to power 5 will give us 0 divided by 0, which is undefined. Which is undefined. So always remember that A raised to power 0 is equal to 1 only if A is not equal to 0. This precision makes you exam ready. Take note of this precision. All right. Now, apply this to other expressions. Example. If you have x raised to power 5 divided by x raised to power 5 multiplied by x raised to power 2, this is the same as x raised to power 5 minus 5 multiplied by x raised to power 2, which is x raised to power 0 multiplied by x raised to power 2, which is x raised to power 2. So 0 power simplifies expressions quickly. This is why the rule is very powerful. I would like you to try this. Try this. You can just pause for 30 seconds and try this. Number 1, 9 raised to power 0. Number 2, a raised to power 4 divided by a raised to power 4. And number 3, 7 raised to power 2 divided by 7 raised to power 2. Have you solved that? Okay, let's look at the first one. This is equal to 1. This is equal to a raised to 4 power 4 minus 4, which is a raised to power 0, which is 1. And this is 7 raised to power 2 minus 2, which is 7 raised to power 0, which is 1. All right. Now let's summarize quickly. Let's summarize. Now remember, same base, same power, result is 1. Summary. We learned that a raised to power 0 is equal to 1 for a not equal to 0. And we also learned that this comes from subtraction rule. Okay? Comes from subtraction rule. We also learned that this comes from division pattern. Comes from division pattern. And finally, we learned that this a raised to power 0 equal to 1 is not true. Is not true for 0 degrees. In this lesson, in the next lesson, we move into negative indices, and you will see they will follow the same pattern logic. Comment, I understand, if this now makes sense. I mean, if a raised to power 0 equal to 1 now makes sense. This is exam math keys, where we solve faster and think smarter.